Welcome to lesson 4 of this course. In this lesson we'll learn how to train deep learning models in Pytorch. Let's go to Colab. Let's learn how to train models in Pytorch. First we'll import the necessary libraries, then we're going to import the data and create the model. During training we need a loss function. A loss function is what evaluates how well our model performs, and what results from our loss function is what we use next to calculate the gradient, so we can do gradient descent. If the gradient is positive, we decrease the weights value, and if the gradient is negative, we increase the value of the weight. There are many different types of loss functions out there, but each one serves a different purpose. For example, there are ones for regression, there are ones for multi-class classification, etc. In regression, a common one is mean squared error, which calculates the difference between the predicted value and the target value and squares it. Then it takes the average for the whole data set. So here is an image showing MSE. We have the weights value here. It's around here, and the gradient here is positive, so we need to decrease the weights value. So it would decrease and it will go this direction. And in classification, a common loss function is called a cross entropy loss. How it works is that it takes the probability of the actual target predicted by the model, then takes the logarithm of it. If the probability is high, then it's a very small negative number, but if it's a small number, then it's a very big negative number. Then we multiply the number by 1 to get positive values. This means that if the probability is high, then the loss is low, and vice versa. And if usually models in Pytorch don't output probabilities, so we use the softmax function, which converts these numbers into probabilities. And during training we need what's called an optimizer. There are many different optimizers that you can use. Today we're going to use SGD, stochastic gradient descent. This one's very common, and it's one of the most basic ones, which will update the parameter of the model with a partition of the data at a time unlike gradient descent, which uses all the data at once. So here we define the training loop. We set the number of epochs we need, and then we iterate over the training data set. We set the gradients to 0 so that the gradients don't accumulate, because we need to do that manually in Pytorch. Then we make our predictions, calculate the loss, then calculate the gradients. Then we change the parameters values by calling .step. And as you see here, in our optimizer we gave it the model's parameters and the learning rate, which it uses to change the values of the parameters. And if you run this, it will train the model. You can change the number of epochs here. So that's it for this lesson. Today we learned how to train our model, but we still need to know how well it performs. That's what we'll do